What's up, YouTube? Angry Jackalope Rob Ricks. So, I want to talk with you a little bit about some epiphanies I've had recently. You know, I was chopping some wood a little while back, and I noticed something as I was cutting. So, if I came at the wood straight on, I wasn't getting as much progress as if I was hitting the wood at an angle. And I'm sure somebody in the comments will explain why that is, but suffice to say, the angular cuts did a better job taking a large limb than a straight assault. And you would think intuitively that a straight on assault, straight down, should be no big deal. But cutting was the more efficient way of taking its limb off. So, how does that tie in with everyday life? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it from a objective point of view. So my objective was to take the limb down. And as I started to do straight chops on different wood, I knew that wasn't the best route to go. It was better to wedge in, get it so it gets to a point and eventually get it to a weak spot and break it off. Now, any objective you face in life, there's going to be a myriad of ways of dealing with it. There's all different ways of tackling the same situation. And that's one of the fun things about life. But how do we find the most efficient? Well, I know one thing for sure. Rushing in without assessing and thinking usually leads to wasted time. There's a description called running in half-cocked, right? So running into a situation half-cocked without all the information available to you can lead to disastrous consequences. Now, sometimes just by dog shit luck, a motherfucker comes out on top, and that's fine. He might just be a charmed, blessed motherfucker that, has some angels working overtime for him. But a better way to look at it is to assess the situation, look at it, figure out an angle of attack, and that's going to be the optimum route for you to go. Now, don't be rigid and say that's the only way to go. Always be flexible and be able to do a course correction if you go a certain route and you go, oh shit, it ain't working. If it ain't working, stop, reassess, and go a different direction. That's going to serve you better. And a lot of this, I'm realizing as we're talking, is kind of covered with Sun Tzu's Art of War. If you know yourself 100%, you know your opponent 100%, you have a 100% chance of success. If you know yourself 100%, but you don't know your opponent, you got a 50% chance. If you don't know yourself and you don't know your opponent, you have a 100% chance of failure. So again, it's figuring out all of the variables and the most efficient way to tackle it. So how does this tie in with life, with the things that I'm talking about and the things that we are learning and growing with together? Well, the first step on any venture is to write it out. Figure out what the objective is. What is it you want to do? You say, I want to climb Mount Everest. All right. If you just ran off, just no gear, just, whatever, you might make it. It's better to do a little bit of homework first, prep, have the right kit, have a guide who's done the trip, and then set out. I got a story for you that will kind of illustrate this for you. A couple of years back, we went to the Bay Area, and I was wearing shorts and flip-flops, and my daughter was wearing shorts and sandals. My wife was wearing, it was summer attire. And we decided we were going to go to Muir Woods. I think I said it right, Muir Woods, M-U-I-R, Muir Woods. I can't even say the damn thing right. Blah, blah. Anyway, we went to this park, and there was a trail. And we decided, it's an ocean view. We can climb this thing, and we could take a look, and we'll see the ocean. That should be really cool. And my daughter was so excited. She was like, I can't wait to do this. Let's do this. Now, I got a really bad back. In fact, oftentimes if I try to do something where it's really physically taxing, lots of walking, whatever, um, my leg will let me know that my back is mad. It'll start off with kind of an aggravated sunburn. Then that sunburn will be a sunburn with a cat scratching it. Then the cat scratching will end up being red hot dagger strikes hitting at random intervals up and down my thigh, usually right up near the hip, kind of hitting really close to the groin area. And if I really piss it off, it'll slip up and start to spread pain into spots where man never wants any fucking pain. Trust me on that. So anyway, and we'll call that a level 10 pain when it starts to creep up into the nether regions, right? So we start walking up this pathway, and it's not really a pathway. You could see people have walked up it. You could see people up ahead. You could see people coming back down. And we start going. About 10 minutes in, two of my kids say, basically, fuck this. We don't want to do it. It's not fun. It's a lot of work, and I don't want to do it. So my wife says, well, they don't want to do it. We'll just meet you back at the gift center. And I said, fine. And I looked at my daughter, Angel. I said, you still want to do this? She's like, yeah, I want to do this. So we did. We started going up. Now, we had no water. We had no gear. We're in flip-flops and sandals. And we are walking through moderate terrain. There's a dedicated path, but you have trees, deadfall trees that are just kind of, you have to climb up over. It's at an incline. There's rocks every so often that are kind of shifty and slidey. But it's a dedicated path. So we are walking. In about 45 minutes into it, I am sweating. I am just dying. Okay? My leg has gone from the sunburn to the dagger strikes. Every 5 steps, I could feel spasms in my leg. Small of my back is aching something fierce. My daughter, she's looking pretty haggard. But neither one of us want to give up. We want to make it to the top of this fucking thing and see the ocean. And we're talking to people, and there's people turning back. They didn't make it. They're like, no, we gave up. It's too fucking far. We don't know how much more to go. We don't want to do it. So I had a leather baseball cap on. And this leather baseball cap is just completely saturated. My daughter's like, Dad, are you good? I'm like, honey, I'll go, and we will make it. We will get to the top of this motherfucker. So we're going, and we're going. Now, we get all the way to the top of this, and I'm telling you, I'm fucking dying. I'm like, and I got sweat just fucking rivers coming down on me. My feet are all brown and black and just covered with dust and dirt. You can't even tell I don't have any shoes on. It looked like my whole entire feet was just covered in dirt. So we get to the top. And then the irony is we get all the way to the top of this, and there's actually a road that's running. And of course, I had the car keys on me, so I couldn't call my wife and say, hey, could you do me a favor and drive up and get us? So anyway, we get to the top of this. We take pictures. We're looking there. And we feel, we succeeded. It was great. And then my daughter says, we got to go back down. So we head back down, and it starts to get dark. And we hear owls going and stuff. And we're like, shit, daylight's fading fast. So we start booking. So we book down, and what took us, an hour and 15 minutes to get up took us probably about 40 minutes to get down. My back's killing me, but I'm like, you know what, I just want this to be done with. So we get back. There was a Pepsi that was sitting in my car during the heat, and it was hot Pepsi. Have you ever been so thirsty, so fucking just dying that you grab something and you chug it, and it is the most wonderful thing in the world? That hot, damn near boiling Pepsi was amazing. It was so fucking good. I gave some to my daughter. I let her have some first because I was worried about her. Then we went, got some water after the fact. We chugged water like you wouldn't believe. So, we got lucky. We made it. There was no danger for us or anything else. But, if we had stopped and looked at the sign said it was an advanced trail. It said it is typically an hour plus to reach the top. It also said make sure you have water, Make sure you have appropriate footwear. It had everything that we needed to know. If we had just paused to do that, we would have had a better idea of what we were facing. And we may or may not have done it. I'm happy we did, because that was kind of an accomplishment. That was a mental marathon for me and my daughter, and neither one of us was going to quit. And that was a really awesome moment, but in a different situation, that would have been foolhardy and we could have died. Or, something else dire like that. But it turned out fine, so that's one of my happy memories. But it also illustrates the point that if I had known beforehand, maybe at the very least, I would have had a couple of these as we walked up. And that would have made things a little bit better. And maybe I would have had some Aleve and some other stuff to help mitigate some of the back problems that I knew, that I now know would have been evident to me if I had just looked at the fucking sign and saw that it was a advanced trail. So, keep that in mind. We're always trying to find the appropriate angle of attack to execute against objectives in a successful way. Sometimes all you can do is pump your brakes and take a look for a second and assess the situation calmly, analytically, and use some critical thinking before you just let your emotions go and you just react to a situation. All right, guys, that's it for this one. I hope you guys are enjoying these as much as I am in sharing with you, because as I talk with you guys and we cover this, it solidifies a little bit more. And I would highly recommend you do the same as you learn new things. Go and teach, because as a group, we all come up together. So if we're always spreading information and helping, it's just going to make everything better. All right? So if you like it, please subscribe, tell all your friends. Until next time, please be good to each other.